It's September 25th, 2022. I'm Todd Dunn, and I'm out for an afternoon sail aboard my 1972 Allied Princess Sequester. After lots of wind Friday night and yesterday, it's calmed right down, and we're just cruising along at about 3 knots as we're headed over toward the Cranberries. Over there you can see Sutton Island on the left and Little Cranberry ahead. There is a bit of a swell out here, which is surprising because it looked really flat outside the Great Harbor. And this isn't a wake because nobody's been by. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can only see about a dozen other boats out. It looks like there are International One Designs or Looters racing over there. And there are several boats that appear to be motoring out the Western Way, probably heading south for the season. September has not been the best sailing month this year. The weather has been rather bad. We've either had rain or too much wind in the wrong direction. We don't like to sail in and out of the marina when the wind is north because it's just very difficult to get in and out of our slip. So I think this is only the 6th time we've had the boat underway this month, and so hopefully we will get a little more sailing in the last week, or not even a full week, 5 or 6 days of September. Well, it was a little choppy and breezy going across the Western Way. We hit 6.4 knots. We're doing about 6.2 right now. I'll try and keep the camera under the Dodger so it's out of the wind. And I'll turn it around so you can see where we're going through the Dodger. And there's a friendship sloop coming in, and we're headed toward Little Cranberry Island. And don't mind the wind noise. Now, we're in the lee of Great Cranberry, so the wind has dropped off quite a bit. Still enough that there'll be quite a bit of wind noise if I take the camera out from under the Dodger. But I'll do it briefly. Great Cranberry and Little Cranberry ahead. So the plan is to go into the Little Cranberry mooring field and tack over there, have a look at Little Cranberry Island today, September 25th, 2022. Well, we just tacked around here in Islesford Harbor at Little Cranberry Island. There are only about half a dozen pleasure boats here, so the vast majority of the boats are lobster boats. So that means the summer people are pretty much gone. The island looks very quiet today as we're sailing back out. Wind picked up quite a bit just before we tacked, and we got up over 6 knots again after being down to about 4 when we were in the wind shadow of Great Cranberry. So there's Islesford Harbor on a Sunday afternoon, September 25, 2022. And there's the gap between Little Cranberry on the left and Great Cranberry on the right. That little passage is called the Gut. You can do it at high tide if you have good charts and a good GPS, or know it really well, because there are some rocks. And there's Great Cranberry and Southwest Harbor over there in the distance. And ahead, we've got Sutton Island, and we are currently on a broad reach towards Sutton Island. Well, we're headed north a little bit east of north as we sail away from Little Cranberry. One sailboat coming in out there, and that's about it. One other small boat, maybe one boat over near East Bunker Ledge, which is that pylon out there. And we're going downwind at about 4.8 knots. And if I want to go out, I'm going to have to bring the stern through the wind and jibe, or take the lazy way out and tack. I think there's just a little tiny bit more wind than I like to jibe. So probably tack the boat here in just a minute or two. We'll see. And there's Seal Harbor ahead over on Mount Desert Island. Okay, well, we ended up jibing around. There's Scudic off in the distance, Mount Desert Island, and Seal Harbor over there, which looks relatively empty. And some of the summer houses here on the north shore of Little Cranberry, I imagine they're going to be closed up for the winter soon. Oh, it's pretty calm over here behind Little Cranberry. One other boat sailing in there, jib only, and they're not heeled over much. And there's a boat in close to the island, sort of sailing in the lee of the island, and they're pretty much stood up. And we're down to about 4.5 knots. And let's take another look at some of the summer homes here on Little Cranberry Island. It's pretty quiet in here compared to what it was like out in the Great Harbor. And a lot of seagulls over there on the water, all the little white spots. As we look into a nearly empty Seal Harbor. Well, we're east of the Cranberry Islands now, and it's very flat out here. It looks like there's a very long period swell, but the boat is hardly feeling it. It's only about a foot, maybe a foot and a half, so it's quite calm, not much wind, and flat water. Interestingly, normally when hurricanes go by offshore, like Fiona did on Friday night into Saturday, we get some pretty big swells coming in, but we didn't get them for this storm. The national park had warnings at the beaches for large seas, but they never materialized. And because I think we had 30 to 40 knots of wind blowing offshore, from onshore to off, and that knocked the waves down. So it was fairly benign here, except for a little bit of wind. And you see there aren't too many boats out here. I think I see none. Wind's picking up a little as we get sort of out from behind Little Cranberry, Scudic Peninsula in the distance over there. Well, there's the life-saving station. It's a rental now on the southeast tip of Little Cranberry Island. You can only see that from offshore, basically where we are now, as we're sailing toward Baker Island. I think we're going to tack around pretty soon because it is not that warm out here with the wind. So I'll do that and come back. Well, we're headed west, and it was supposed to cloud up this afternoon, but there are some streaks below some of those clouds that look like the rain that's forecast for later this evening might be starting a little early over there. So even though it's still pretty early, I think we might head back in if it looks like it's going to rain on us. And here's a Hinkley 50. pleasant, doing quite well. And 50 footer. Big, powerful centerboard yawl. And we're sailing along the south side of Sutton Island and headed west. The wind is picking up a little as we get out from behind Great Cranberry Island. I'm almost out of memory card. Well, I'm almost out of memory card, so I'm going to end this video here. Hope you enjoyed this short sail here on Sunday afternoon, September 25, 2022. To east of the Cranberries until we could see the life-saving station on the southeast tip of Little Cranberry Island. And actually it was rougher in the Great Harbor than it was outside in the open ocean. Go figure. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And don't forget, if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel.